Now in other news, the cabinet convened Sunday morning to hear a proposal on the 2021-2022 budget. The government has been running without a formal budget for the past 3 years, and so today marks a true test for the coalition. Here with more details of this uphill battle is ILTV's Asaf Nissan. Asaf, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
The cabinet convened today. What is the status of the new budget? What needs to happen now for it to be approved?
So the budget itself is currently being discussed in the government and will probably be discussed for the next couple of days in order to decide whether or not to pass the current proposal. We're seeing the coalition itself still being divided whether or not to pass it in its current bill and its current status, and yet, well, we're not sure how this will progress. That's why we're expecting these long couple of days.
What are some of the main highlights in the proposed budget, some of the major financial allocations?
So we're going to be seeing 3 major highlights happening in this bill. We're going to see the arrangements law, which will allow taxation and thus helping the government pay for its current budget. We're going to see the budget bill itself, which will actually determine how much money each government branch will get. And the most noticeable changes is going to be around the agricultural fields, which is going to actually make the agricultural market convenient to the European standard, opening its market to competition, thus lowering the prices for different fruits and vegetables.
Now, I understand that there was a rift between the health ministry, which demanded more money, and the finance ministry, and that the health minister has threatened not to vote in favor of the budget. I mean, what is this rift about, and what essentially is this fight over?
So the rift is happening for 2 reasons. One, the promise that was made pre-government that both in the north and the south will be built new hospitals. Those are not going to happen, of course, due to the second reason, which is going to be the cuts in the budget itself. The health budget is currently expected to take a hit of $11 million a year. Sorry, $11 billion a year. Thus making it much more difficult for the ministry to deal with the upcoming crisis again with COVID, even though COVID itself has been standardized and put as part of the health budget. But we're still going to see a lot of problems here regarding beds, regarding rooms in the hospitals. This is an ongoing problem that is actually threatening to hurt the entire government, with even the health minister Horowitz calling out their government a right-wing government in that part, which is the reason why they're not going to fund much more of the financial side of the health budget. They're not going to give much more money. They're going to give it a lot more difficulties. And because of the fact they believe it's supposed to be more privatized and more right-wing and more free market, they're probably going to be more against of giving more budget to it. But then again, this can't happen without referring to the COVID crisis.
And aside from health, which given the coronavirus and even before was a major issue here in Israel, what other points of contention have there been in formulating this proposal? And is everyone finally content with the outcome?
Well, Lidal, as I mentioned, there are 2 other laws, of course, we have to refer to. The arrangements law, which as far as I heard hasn't caused any sorts of problems and even been promoted by the environmental office, since the Minister of Environment Protection, Tamar Zandberg, is for the fact that we're going to tax more of the sweet stuff, more the use of plastic, and those, of course, will help better the environment. But we are seeing a lot of strife regarding the agricultural reforms. Those, of course, being made by Agricultural Minister Oded Foyle, who wants to open up the market and make it a little cheaper for the simple consumer to buy fruits and vegetables. But that, of course, comes to clash with the current farmers and suppliers of the market that are mostly Israeli, and they are saying that this law will end them. This law will not give them any more money, and this will not help them breathe, since they're already cutting off some of their budget and some of their prices in order to make sure that their supplies will be sold in the different markets of Israel.
ILTV's Asaf Nissan, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you so much.